What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, this is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today we're going to go ahead and set up and play through Mystic Vale. This is going to integrate Conclaves, Vale of Magic, Vale of the Wild, Harmony, Twilight Garden, basically everything out up until Harmony. So we're going to go ahead and set the game up in real time so you can get a feel for how to set up Conclaves, how to set up your amulets, your totems, your everything. We're going to involve everything, and you can kind of pick and choose what you got to integrate. And then we're going to go ahead and play through the game a little bit so you get a feel for the overall rule set and the flow of the game. So without further ado, let's ready, set, play. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and set this game up for 2 players, and we're going to go from beginning to end, which is a royal pain, so I can talk you through everything. This mat was part of the Havens event kit, so if you don't have it, don't be surprised, because it's not a standard piece that came with any of the expansions as part of the event kit. So go ahead and get all these rule books out. Here you can see I've got the rule books for all the different expansions that have come out to date, along with things like the Havens event kit. Alright, so I'll go ahead and set all that there. Now, when you make conclaves, you're going to choose 6 of the different conclaves to set the game up. So I'm just going to randomly grab out 6 of these. Let's go ahead and grab 1, 2, 3, skip through, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 different conclaves. Then you can, if you want, if you're going to be playing, that's part of the Havens event kit there. All of these are part of the Havens. So these are part of the Havens event kit. Is you play basically a campaign, and you can earn these different Havens that will stay in your deck from game to game to game. I'll get to those in a little bit in case you have some of those and want to play with them. We will pull out some totems in case you want to know how those work. We will pull out a bunch of leaders so we can let you know how those work. We're going to get out the fertile soils. Those are in every game, so we'll go ahead and have those out. And let's see, the rest of those are all Vales. Then, as we're going to set this up for 2 players, we're going to grab 2 sets of these basically starting cards that you're going to be using. So go ahead and grab the white and the yellow, sure. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. You may or may not have that tray, but essentially that's just holding, I've got these spirit tokens, which you may have from the Spirit of the Vale event kits. You also, if you have conclaves, you can use these to help keep track of, okay, I've got 0 wilds, and as you play cards out, you can tick these up to keep track of how many of the different spirit symbols you actually have, so that you know how to spend them. And if you are playing with 5 or 6 players, then you're going to be having the night and day tokens, so that you can kind of create 2 separate setups, and you would end up separating them with 1 set on one side and 1 set on the other, indicating however it is that you want. You could go like this and have them night on this side and day on this side, or you could have the 2 of them separated, however you want to do it. And then if you have the night token, then you're going to be buying cards from one side. If you have the day token, you're going to be buying cards from the other side. And you pass these around, and you're going to show, like, okay, I'm the active player for day, and then you're going to say, okay, well, I'm waiting for the day token because I'm done. So you can kind of keep track with that. But we won't be playing with that. You're still going to use these tokens. The original mana tokens will help you decide who is going to be the start player. You will take them, you will shuffle them up. Everyone takes them and flips over, and whoever has this one is going to be the start player. Then you are going to draw out cards, leaders if you're going to use them. You're going to draw out enough for the You can deal out 2 to each player. You can also do drafting if you want to draw 1 more than the number of players and let players draft them. But you can go ahead and deal 2 to each player. Then you can also deal, and you could also put all of these out in the middle of the table. You can put out, you could draw 1 of these for each player, and 1 of these for each player, and 1 of these for each player, and then take turns drafting 1 of those items. So okay, maybe this player drafts the totem, then this player's, or the amulet, and this player says, well, I want this totem, and this player's going to say, okay, well, I want this leader. Now this one says, okay, well, I want this leader, and then you have to take a totem, etc. until you go around so that each person gets 1 of each. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can draft more, you can give 2 to each. There's lots of different ways you can do it. All right, and these are leaders, so we'll go ahead and put them back since we kind of just randomly stuck them out there. Go ahead and put the rest of them back, and the rest of the totems back. And once you have the amulet, you can decide whether you want to keep the one that is worth 1 money or the one that it does a special ability. What these are used for is there's ways that you can kind of push your luck through the game, and if you end up busting or spoiling, they call it in this game, as a reward, you get to turn this from whichever one you have from its inactive side to its active side, and then on a later turn you can spend it. In this case, you spend it for 1 money and then turn it back over until you bust again. This one would give you a growth if it says that you flip this amulet in the air. If it lands on its inactive side, then you get the growth right away so that you don't spoil. Otherwise it stays there until the next time you push. And then, all right, if it flips to this side, that means you're safe and you don't actually bust. So that's what those are used for, and you have the choice which one you want to keep. Then you're going to draw out some of the victory points based off the number of players. In a 2-player game, you're going to draw out 23 of these. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, let's see, 21, 22, 23. Then you can set the rest of these aside because there are times when you might need minus tokens, and then once these are depleted in the last round, you can still get more, and then there's also times where you can get them directly from the box. This is going to be your timer towards ending the game. Once all of these are gone, you will finish out the round so that each player has had the same number of turns, and then the game is going to end. All right. And actually, I should say if you have trouble keeping track of who the start player was, you can go ahead and have that player keep this next to them so you can keep track of who the start player was. So if this player enacted endgame, everyone's going to get another turn but that player. But whoever's last in the sequence, if they're the ones who started, triggered the endgame, then everybody's had the same number of turns, so game over. All right, then each player is going to take their leader, and there are 2 sides to the leader. You're going to start with a side that has the cost in the corner with a little flip symbol. That means this is the base side, and you can pay this much later in the game to unsleeve it, flip it over to its more powerful side. But you'll start with the less powerful side in, and you're going to go into your deck, find one of the empty cards, and you're going to put it in there. Okay. Then this player will do likewise, making sure to start with their weaker side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take all these different cards from the 6 different conclaves. Set the conclave cards aside, and we are going to separate them into their different types and shuffle each of those different types. So you can see how it can get pretty tedious. All right, and they all have different kind of groupings of everything. So some of them are going to have a bunch of veils, some of them will have almost no veils, some of them will have all level 1 veils, some of them are going to have all level, no level 1 advancements. So they are balanced within themselves based off of different strategies, but you might end up with a setup that has more or less of one of the different kinds of cards. This particular one looks pretty even as far as level 1 and level 2 Vales. Then you go ahead and take them, and you will shuffle them. Go ahead and put that there. Shuffle the level 1s. And put that there. Set these aside. Okay. Now we've got to go through all of these and separate them into their level 1, 2, and 3. See, that's all level 1. And there's the level 3s. There's some more level 1s, which means I probably got one stuck to the back there. No. All right, and level 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Looks like I might be missing one, but sometimes there's not. All right. Either way, let's see. 1, 2s. 1, 2s. 1s, 2s. 1, 1, 2. So you can see this makes it so that your pack up of the game can be both important but also a pain. Now I typically like to do it like this, where I can go through, see all the level 1s are facing one way, the level 2s are facing another way, the level 3s are facing another. But when you've got a group of people helping you put them away, they don't always get put away the same. There's 2s, 3s, 1, 3, 2. Ones, 2s, 3s. 1, 3, 1, 2. All right, now we will take each of the different stacks and shuffle them. And again, because of the static in these cards, I end up having to shuffle them this way. So you can, new cards come with this. Don't be alarmed if some of those come off. That is okay. It's just part of the printing process. Sometimes I'll go through and take the time to peel all of them off deliberately. So don't be don't be surprised and don't be panicked if you see those things come off. Now the shuffling becomes pretty important with the conclaves because you're going to have likely a whole bunch of the same cards next to each other when you initially start, so you do need to shuffle them rather well. That can be problematic, like I said, because shuffling these can be problematic. So one of the things you might end up doing is after you get a conclave set up, you are just going to leave it set up for a good 5 to 10 games because it's too much of a pain to do this as setup and teardown for each game. You might just want to do it ever so often instead of every time you play. If you do not have conclaves, I should add, then setup is a lot easier. You're just going to grab the stack of level 3 and level 2 advancements, the level 1 and level 2 Vales, and you're going to set them out, shuffle them, and deal them out. The level 1 Vales are, not Vales, but the level 1 advancements are a little bit different because you are going to, you're not going to play with all of them. And I'm just going to shuffle them moderately here. But you're not going to have all of these level 1 advancements in play. You're going to have more or less of them based off of the number of players. So in a 2-player game, you will only be using 12 of these advancements. In a 3-player game, you'll use 15. In a 4-player game, you'll use 18. So I'm now going to take all these and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the rest of these will go off to the side. All right, then 1, 2, 3 of those, 1, 2, 3 of those, there's always going to be the fertile soils available. And then we have there 4 of each of those, 3 of each of these. Set your tokens or amulets face down, put your totems nearby. These are going to give you a static benefit throughout the game. For instance, this one gives you 1 of each spirit symbol every turn of the game. Now, spirit symbols are going to be used to get these veils. So this one gives you 1 green, 1 yellow, and 1 brown. And then during the planting phase, it says you can draw 1 veil and add it to the commons, which is the area where you purchase. So that's going to allow there to be more out here than normal. So for instance, this one, because it has 1 of each of these, I could buy this one right here using the yellow and the green. So that's one form of currency, is these different spirit symbols, and that's one way to get cards that are worth points and give you special abilities. This totem over here is going to give you 2 money, which is this symbol right here. 2 money every single turn, or mana as it's called in this game. And then ongoing, it says each time any player spoils, including yourself, gain 1 point. And then spoiling is when you push your luck if someone busts. So either player, if they do, you get to take 1 victory point. Then during the harvest phase, which is when you're actually enacting your cards and buying things, if it says if you have 10 or more cards in your field, 10 or more cards in play, then you gain 2 points. So a way to get points and a way to buy more things. So you can see the totems can make things really powerful right off the bat. And then, as I mentioned, each one of us is going to have their leader in their deck as well, which gives them a little bit of a direction as well. Each of these decks is identical other than the leader now. The decks are going to have 9 cursed lands, which are these cards right here, which are going to give you both 1 money and 1 of that orange symbol, which stands for corruption. Corruption is kind of what we're fighting against in this game, and it is what is going to lead us to spoil. So it's what we don't want. So there's going to be 9 of those in here, and 3 essentially fertile soils, which give you 1 mana or 1 money. So you can take that into account, because everybody at the same time is going to begin with what's technically the last phase of a round, which is the planting phase, which is where you turn cards over from your deck. I guess I'll do it facing this way. You're going to turn cards over from your deck until you reveal 3 of the corruption symbol. Okay, so there. Now I have 1, 2, 3 showing. And the other player is going to do the same, because this all happens simultaneously. Alright, so now, let's say it's this player's turn. Now, they can, if they want, push their luck and flip over another card. Now they have revealed 4 corruption. In that case, they would bust. They would lose their turn entirely, and they would flip their token over, their amulet over, giving them an ability going forward. This player happens to also have their leader, which says, while in the field, if you were to spoil, you may discard your leader, this card, and 1 other card in your field that does not have a corruption on it to kind of save you. So we can go ahead and discard these cards so that you don't bust. Now, the card that's on deck does not count for anything other than its corruption symbol, or if it has an on-deck power. So we don't get the money off of this card. You're only going to get the money for the cards that are in your field. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, thanks to your totem. So you can come over here, and the cost of these cards is in the side here. It's going to tell you this one costs 7 money. All of these ones are going to cost money. All of these ones are going to cost usually just spirit symbol. On rare occasion, you'll have spirit symbols and or money. Right, so you have 6, which is a pretty good amount for the beginning of the game. So you can come over and you could buy anything costing up to 6. This one is going to give you 2 money. It says when played, you may discard any other card in your field, which is really useful for getting rid of your cursed lands. So let's go ahead and say that you're going to buy that for 6. Then, at the end of your turn, you can buy up to 2 of these and up to 2 of these in any given turn. So at the end of your turn, you're then going to take whatever cards you bought, if they are the advancements, you will sleeve them in. And you can combine them any way you want so long as you don't cover up something that's already there. Then this is going to get replenished. Then you'll take everything that was in play, move that to your discard pile, and immediately you will plant your next field while your opponent starts to take their turn. And you stop once you have 3 showing. While that's happening, the other player is going to take their turn. So maybe this player decides that they want to push. So they actually busted this time. Thanks to this one's totem, because this player busted, you get a point. This player, because they busted, will flip over their token, their amulet. They lose their turn, and they will immediately plant their field for the next turn. Okay, so now this is when you can start to do a little bit of the math. You can see, okay, I've got 3 of my cursed lands here, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only 3 more of them in the rest of that. So you can start to play the odds a little bit. The other thing you also know is if you push, you will get a point if you bust, and you will be able to get your amulet here, which says, if this amulet is on an advancement in the commons, this advancement cost +2 for other players and -2 for you. During the discard phase, you can place this amulet on advancement. This advancement costs 2 for other players. So what you can do is you can, at the end of your turn, you can flip it and put it on something to kind of reserve it basically for you. So let's see, you would have 2, 3, 4 money, which you could use to buy, well, let's go ahead and buy this. So I can show you, oh, no, I'm not gonna do that yet, because this has a special symbol here. That allows it to either be covered up, this allows it to be covered up, this eclipse symbol. So you can cover it with another advancement, which is really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and push then. And this time we did bust, so we will flip our amulet over and take a point and then push everything on over. So now we can look at our deck and we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only going to be 9, so that means that we can go through this entire deck safely, even if we end up flipping over the last cursed land earlier on. So here we know that this card right here is not going to be a cursed land because we have now seen all 9 of them. So we know that there's at least one safe push over here. Now this player, they don't necessarily want to push again, so they'll go ahead and take their 4, and they want to get some spirit symbols because they are doing well with that. So they're going to go ahead and move over here and get some of these spirit symbols for them. That would happen during the discard phase, which technically I'm not in yet. My apologies. So I would also go ahead and buy this. During planting, and I should have done that last time even though I lost my turn. I could have draw 1 veil and add it to the commons. And I'm going to now get to buy something, so I will buy this one. And it says, if you were to spoil, you may discard this card to gain 1 growth, which cancels out 1 of the decay. So it gives me a little bit of spoils protection. And that gets refilled. So now clean that up and then prep. Nice. Okay, then we'll come over here. This player, let's see, we've got 3, 4, 5 money. What can we buy for 5? This one right here makes it so every time we play it, we're going to get 2 points. That's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and get that one. And then let's think about what we might want to discount for ourselves going forward. Even though it's not stellar, I think I'm going to go put it on this one because it makes it so whenever we play that card, we get to flip our token back over, which is going to allow us to use it very frequently without even having to bust. Okay. Oh, we could have pushed. I'm sorry, I didn't even get to illustrate that. All right, so there we go. And then we will get a chance now to shuffle our whole deck, because we will always utilize everything in your deck before you get a chance to shuffle. That there. All right, we'll come over here. Now, we have a lot of spoil protection. So we are now in the planting phase, which is when we would turn over one of these. And I'm gonna go ahead and push. So there, we would bust. So we can go ahead and discard this Vale, which wasn't worth any points, to cancel out this one and be able to utilize everything we have here. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I particularly wanted because I was going to be able to get another one of these, which gives us more spirit symbols. When played, you get to turn this to your active side. Similar thing. Not too bad. Okay. So then we get to buy a Vale, and this time, why don't we get this one? This one says, if you were to spoil, you may discard this card to cancel all corruption on one card that is not a cursed land. And it's also worth 1. So that one I might want to hang on to a little bit more. Oh, and that does still stay on top of my my deck. And then I would shuffle and draw and discard, draw everything again. So you're going to keep playing like this until all of the victory point tokens have been exhausted, finish the round, and then whoever has the most points at the end of the game is going to be the winner. You're going to get points from your victory point chips, from the Vales that have the victory point symbol in the corner, from your cards that have victory point symbols in the corner. And some of them will have an asterisk because they give you points extra based off of what they have there. There'll also be some of them that are worth minus points. And you could have minus point symbols as well, minus point tokens. But at the end, whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. The last thing I want to take time to explain are these havens. If you do have any of these that you've gotten from an event kit, what you're going to be doing is you will shuffle them up, and you'll have some of them showing. You have 3 of them available in a supply. The cost is shown up here. So this would cost you 7 money. This would cost you 2 spirit symbols, 3 money, and 1 point chip. Once you get them, then they're going to give you the benefit that it shows on the side here. So this one initially will give you no benefit, but then later if you pay 4 money, you flip it over, and now every time you play it, it gives you this benefit and is worth this many points. At the end of the game, you will go ahead and keep this card in your personal deck, but you will flip it back over to this side. Then in the next game, all you have to do is pay the 4 to flip it over, and you'll have that ability again. So if you were to go and spend a whole bunch to get something like this, and then be able to pay to flip it over, then this allows you to get 3 money, and you can, then it gives you this ability. This one particularly says, when sleeving newly acquired advancements, you may sleeve a top slot advancement over this effect of this card, and then that card will stay in there for the rest of the campaign. So if you were to get this in the first game, you could put some really powerful cards in here, and then in subsequent games, all you have to do is pay this to flip it over and immediately have that kind of pre-built really nice card. So all of these do various different things. You're going to use not all of these in each game. It's going to tell you that you are going to choose 7 from the deck. So you're going to have only 7 of them available in each game. And there's a whole bunch of different ones. You likely may only have 1 of each of them. I have a couple of each of them. And then if you win the game, then you get one of these, which then if you pay that, you can flip it over, and it can also do the similar thing. That's going to give you, this one would have 3 money on it, so maybe you don't want to have that one, but it says that you get to treat the top and bottom slot advancement on this card as if there was an extra copy of that advancement. So if you sleeve something here, it's going to take effect twice, and if you sleeve something here, it will take effect twice. So if you have both of those in play, you're going to get 3 money plus double what is on the top and the bottom. And it's worth 3 points. So that one can be pretty powerful, but it does cost a lot to flip it back over. So the Havens can be pretty interesting, and it recommends that you play either 3 or 4 game campaigns with the Havens in play. Okay, that should give you a pretty good idea of how to set up and play through Mystic Vale and a whole bunch of the other expansion elements by John D. Clair and published by AEG. If you want to know more about the game, take a look in the description section where you'll find some unboxings of different expansions, some setups as other new expansions come out and things get more varied, and also some overall thoughts on some of the different expansions as they come out. And you can also find a link there to macronovagames.com where you can buy Mystic Vale, all of its expansions, and a whole bunch of other great games. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment section down below if you have any feedback or recommendations for me. Also, please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, have a wonderful day.